Moon Platoon. Sorry. It's time to talk about the shell game. FTDs can be reset through borrowing from ETFs. Read the truth. Before we can get started, I do agree with Professor Meatball that we have to watch until the end. We have to smash that like and try to get up to 1,300 on this video. And if it isn't quite there yet, comment down below which like you were, and let me know what you think about this article here because it has important implications for today. So let's get into it. FTDs are not reset. FTDs on ETFs help show the short positions on the underlying securities. Many talented DD writers have theorized that FTDs are being reset using deep in the money call options, and although it appears to be a credible theory that no doubt applies to many stocks, the singular attention it receives may have clouded our vision. And yes, we have read multiple different types of DD that talks about these deep in the money calls. In fact, let me see if I can pull one up right now. So we have GME's option chain right here, if it's going to cooperate. We have these deep in the money calls right here, $1 million at 35. We know that a GME is not going to get to $35 by the time this expires. And over here, $2 million at 70, right? Another $1 million worth of calls here at $80 and $90. It doesn't make sense. When are we going to hit that milestone? These deep in the money calls were originally used to theorize that FTDs were being cycled out. So this is now a counterpoint to that. They invite you all to step back and look at the raw data with them. The truth is, FTDs are a mechanism of an illiquid stock. They are an obligation on the part of the broker-dealer that carries a clear T+5 requirement to be rightfully delivered. That obligation requires that the security be purchased off the open markets to be paid back within T+13 days. Otherwise, the broker-dealer is restricted from accepting short sale orders from anyone else. For more information on FTDs, please see the entire body of work, specifically the links, the DD tab to get up to speed. They promise you'll not regret it. So make sure that you have already given user AUGRR a big fat upvote. His work is in the description down below. And if you guys wanted to be able to get your hands on the option chain for both AMC and GME, then we have a premium subscription to Option Sonar that you can look at. And all you need to do is press that link in the description down below to be able to access that yourself. Right back to it. Special call out to the ETF document from the user TurdFerg23. Now, these FTD obligations can be granted extensions. See here. In the FTD document, they believe they have identified the smoking gun of how these shares have been borrowed and subsequently extended against T+5 plus 30, T+35 FTD obligations of IWN created massive volume upticks on the T+35 date. In their opinion, they have proven that ETFs are used to reset FTDs, but I am open for arguments against it. So let's take a look now. We saw earlier that the options chain and deep in the money calls were the way to be able to actually reset these FTDs. However, now we're seeing brand new DD from user Augur that says that we are actually looking at ETFs to reset FTDs. The flowchart. Imagine this scenario. You shorted GameStop in December because you have a raging FTD problem that keeps biting you in the ass every 13 days and you must exit this position. Unfortunately, GME is now too expensive to short and you are running out of options. And what does that mean? You have one share that goes from person A, and then that goes over and gets borrowed by a person who wants to short this stock and goes to person B. So at person B, this person can also get their share borrowed and then finally pass it to person C. Now person C is the only person that owns the stock, even though everybody in this scenario believes that they own the stock. However, what if there was no person A? Well, there could just be an imaginary cloud called a synthetic long or a naked short, right? That then gets passed to person B. And that becomes a naked short. Ultimately, this cloud needs to be covered within a certain amount of time. And if you don't cover this, you're going to have a raging FTD problem. So they talked about how GME is too expensive back in December to cover, and they are now looking to reset their FTDs in order to continue hurting the stock without having to actually buy the stock that this bubble cloud here, this imaginary share, actually has to be located and actually borrow it from somebody. You call up your friend who holds the bunch of settled GME shares in an ETF at XRT and borrow those to wash yourself of the FTD problem with GME. They say XRT because look at the GME FTD rate on December 14th, 2020, and then pop off, and then the pop off FTD rate out of nowhere from XRT on December 16th, 2020. Let's take a look. ETFs are the time bombs they use to hide FTDs. This little picture here. It says short and FTD volume and share close price. We see a major dip right where they are pointing here. ETFs are the time bombs they use to hide the FTDs. So this is GME and XRT, short, exempt, and FTD versus the share price itself. On January 29th, the extent of that borrow becomes obvious. At least 2 million GME shares are utilized to wash someone short out of their FTD problem that they dumped into the SPDR S&P retail ETF. And the best part, the highly advertised XRT ETF was not the only one that did this on the same day. In fact, they weren't even the most. BlackRock's IWM ETF exploded without warning and then dissipated away. What was happening here? Let's find out. FPL programs and why we haven't talked about this. Because the FTDs were just starting to become talked about in mid to late January in the mainstream Wall Street Bets community, the shorts knew they had to rotate that FTD reporting off the GME books and hide in internal Q1 data reporting. Coincidentally, by rotating that FTD program internally through using ETFs, this freed up a lot of settled shares to limit the FTD problem, with OR allowed to be borrowed too short again. So with that line of thinking established, we should see a clear rise in FTDs and these ETFs of anyone who is running a FPL program. And now to understand this, I want to interject eventually, but we have to build up this baseline here. What is an FPL program? They will let this letter from Ms. Elizabeth Baird of the SEC to Chris Daly, Vice President of the Office of Financial Operation, blah, 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 speak for itself. She said it, not me. I'm merely a messenger. Let's take a look here. Oh, wait, this one. Introduction, background, temporary position. Essentially, this is going to be, in order to read these like mini documents, you really have to kind of dive into the past the introduction and directly into the temporary position here. But this is talking about Rule 15c3. And what is that? Let's take a look. What does this mean to an ape? The Rule 15c3 established the requirement to keep enough cash and securities in a segregated account that cover a portion of the cost in major market move. This is the law for review. Therefore, in their interpretation of the days to come, they know that dates are frowned upon, but they believe they can call attention to the date established by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. Tomorrow, dawn of the first day, and this was, since it was written 17 hours ago, this is now today. The markets will open frothy. All of the players are aware of the collateral requirements of their own positions. Every advancement on a position your institution is not long on is a direct attack on that institution's way of life. GME will be in a very precarious position. As negative beta stock and the biggest one of them all volume on long short will influence the direction of the market moves. It is both equally possible for the stock to explode with volatility we have never seen before, or it remain pinned on the max pain line for another day to continue bleed off delta. In either case, the world will be watching with bated breath. Assuming there are broker-dealers out there that will not come into compliance with Rule 15c3, basically just have more money by end of day trading day tomorrow, they will officially be out of compliance and everyone will be looking at the SEC for action. But if there's a broker-dealer out there right now wondering if they have enough collateral to cover tomorrow's many hypothetical situations, you can bet that they're sweating bullets right now. The winner of the battle will set the collateral requirements for the loser as outlined here. In conclusion, it's time to cover, but must mark the loan to the market not less than the daily, and in the event that the market value of all the outstanding securities loaned at the close of trading at the end of business day exceeds 100% of the collateral, then held by the lender, the broker-dealer or dealer, the borrowing broker or dealer must provide additional collateral of the type described in whatever this is by the close of the next business day as necessary to equal. So we are looking at major changes in the purse strings of the market itself. So if you guys like that video, please let the algorithm know by dropping a like on this video. Make sure to give the people a big fat thumbs up for supporting the show, Moon Platoon, Meatball the Space Legends tier, and the coveted Gorillionaire tier. And we'll see all of you in the money. Peace.